My book report is on screen bottom boards, helping or hurting. Well, if we go back to what Monica just showed us, that's a hurting example. There are plenty of helping examples too, but this is Tina Sebestyen from Bee Culture, July of this year. Take a look at the article. It's only 2 pages long and quite useful. One of the things that they were talking about in this is that the varroa isn't very prevalent in Africanized bees. It's also not very prevalent in tropical climates. And one of the things about Africanized bees is they allow much greater temperature swings than Apis mellifera, European, our Chester County mutts. Even though the Africanized are Apis mellifera, there seem to be a subspecies. Yeah. So what we were seeing is the Africanized were giving us 107.5 degrees 20 times for an hour to 2 hours over a 5-day period. Whereas our bees were doing 104 degrees max 5 times for an hour or two over 5 days. So the Africanized allow a lot higher temperature spikes than our bees do. But there's not as many varroa. Wonder why that would be. So they're allowing the temperatures to go very high for many more times and for fairly significant periods of time. Are high hive temperatures good for bees? Or are they bad for bees? The tested theory, the tested hypothesis is, yeah, high temps are better. And you can tell it by the bee behavior. With higher temperatures, the bees dance longer, they're better communicating, they have better short-term memories. With low temperatures, it has a negative impact on the bees. They are slow learners. You know, how do I get to that nectar source? And I can't quite figure it out. They don't dance as well, and dancing is how they communicate. This was really telling me at 101 degrees, 100% of the female varroa mites died with no bee larva loss. So 101 degrees caused the varroas to die, but not the bees to be affected. That was kind of, wow, that's pretty cool. Part of the study was about the screen bottom boards. If you use screen bottom boards in full sun with wind protection, the mites decrease by 66%. However, using a screen bottom board alone, not in full sun and not with wind protection, you have an increase of 119%. What they basically have said in this article is that they do reduce mites if you set them directly on the ground. I don't want to set my hives directly on the ground because the other things could go, it's all bad. Or the apiary is in full sun with wind protection, and you're using the sticky or corrugated board in screen bottom board slot. We've already talked about the higher temps for the tropical honeybees, but it's also not just because of the temperatures, it's because of the humidity. It's a combination of both. It's not just temps, it's also humidity. This study also showed the honeybees were infested with mites within 5 hours of capping and then incubated at different temperatures. 10 days after the capping, the brood cells were inspected, and here's what they found in the 3 tests. Brood that were 59 to 68% relative humidity had 53% of the mites producing offspring. At 79 to 85% relative humidity, only an average of 2%. High humidity, high temperatures, kill mites. Pretty cool. All right, so the bottom line is the screen bottom boards do work by keeping over half of the living mites from being able to get back up. Once they fall through, they can't get back up. The tight-fitting sticky boards result in more humidity, which also helps drive down or kill mites. Allowing the higher humidity in the brood nest may cause the temperature. When it's hot and sticky out, you can't cool as well. What do bees use the water for that they bring back in the hive? Evaporative cooling. When it's high humidity, they can't cool as well. or the heat in the hive doesn't hurt the bees, but it certainly hurts the varroa. And then finally, screen bottom boards that are open to the air, Monica, bottom boards that are open to the air may make mite problems worse. Somebody had a device that heated hives, and yes, I don't know anything about it, Chris.
It's great to have a bottom board with a corrugated plastic bottom right there. But remember that that space in between cannot be cleaned by the bees, which means that you have to constantly pull that board out and clean it, otherwise you're going to have what? Hive beetles. Hive beetles. That's where they live. They love it.
Yeah, but if the hive beetles can't get back up through the screen, then they can live down there all they want. They can't get up.
So the debris and the crap and the wax creates all that dirt, and they just
yes, and then, but you're right. Every inspection, that should be part of your hive inspection, is pulling that bottom board. In fact, before I go into any hive, that's got a, as I pull it out and look, and it tells me a number of things. Like I've got a whole bunch of wax cappings that are laying along here. Well, I know where the bees are coming out. You know, I can look in those frames straight up above. If I see other things on the bottom board, I can tell you kind of what's going on. I can look for mites.
Varroa on the bottom, you know, use it as your IPM, put sticky board underneath this, you're tapping Varroa. But maybe at the end of the day, the only reason why you're tapping Varroa is because more Varroa is living above the screen bottom board. And therefore you think you're doing good, but actually all you're doing is tapping more Varroa because more Varroa is up above.
But they can't get back up.
Right, but
sure. What if they get back up?
if you get the sticking to something, it can't get back
Oh,
up.
so just with the corrugated board, they can just crawl and
Potentially, yes.